Hey guys, today we're going to get into a fascinating yet disturbing trend in American politics. It seems the opposition, the lefties, are pulling out all the stops, likening Trump to historical dictators now. That's right, from Hitler to Stalin, the comparisons sound as extreme as they are desperate. Forget the fact that Donald Trump in his 4 years as president never did anything like the left-wing dictators Hitler and Stalin. The Democrats are frantic about losing power. What's happening is the Democrats spent all 4 years of the Trump administration trashing the living hell out of him, and they went beyond the ridiculous with their rhetoric, and so people started laughing at them. They didn't take them seriously anymore. But they weren't smart enough to figure out how to get across to their constituents that Trump was, in fact, Satan. And that's very hard to do when your paycheck's going up, or you didn't have a job under Obama, but now you've got a pretty good one under Trump. It's pretty good when the company you're working for is expanding and has a bright future. That's good for your job security. Pretty good when the border is closed and the illegals from third world countries aren't going to come in and take your jobs for the salary of a hot dog and a Coke. So the Democrats had to ramp up their rhetoric daily and say things that are so ridiculous and beyond the pale that pretty much the entire staff at CNN lost their jobs after 4 years of pushing that kind of bullshit. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just about Trump. It's a broader symptom of a political system fighting for its very survival. You might be wondering, how the hell did we get here? Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I came across this video of Laura Ingraham interviewing Newt Gingrich. And she points out how the rhetoric is ramping up so bad against Trump that it's beyond ridiculous. I don't know how you feel about Newt Gingrich, but I've always liked the man. Pretty much because I think he has a masterful way of taking complicated situations and explaining things in vulgate language for the common man to understand what's really going on. And that's what I like to do. Let's give it a listen.
Joining me now is Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House and Fox News contributor. Newt, Trump as Hitler, Trump as Stalin, Trump as whatever dictator comes to mind. That really is their campaign, along with the abortion fear-mongering, which they believe to some success in the last election a few weeks ago. What do you anticipate happening here on out?
Now, wait till you hear his explanation. I just love the way he puts things.
Well, I think the only thing I disagree with in your general explanation is that this is about their survival. I think that this is literally the behavior of an entire system which understands that it's on the verge of being destroyed.
Yep.
They're looking at what happened in Italy. They're looking at what just happened this last week in Argentina. There is a worldwide movement against left-wing, radical, socialist values. You look at Hungary. I mean, again and again, average, everyday people are saying, no, we don't want this. You look at the numbers for Trump right now, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think what you're seeing on the left is a desperation that's literally a survival function. We've never seen this, maybe the South in 1860, but other than that, we have never seen this level of desperation in American politics.
Yep.
And it's going to get worse. They have a candidate who's
far
hopeless.
Worse.
I mean, if you watch Joe Biden, you know he's not going to win, and they can't get rid of him. They have a situation where their opponent is getting stronger and better and more disciplined. And I think that leads to a very explosive moment in American history.
But Newt, don't you also see that their drive, this is bloodlust they seem to have with putting Trump in jail?
Yep.
I think they believe that's key to their survival too. They have to put him in jail before this election because nothing else is working. The Hitler routine isn't working, obviously. Right. People are just laughing at that.
Yeah.
Well, and putting him in jail won't work either. But the problem they've got is, I don't know how it happened. I'm writing a series for the American Spectator. I have to confess, I'm not quite sure how we get to where we are today, because it's hard to understand how the modern left somehow went through this permutation, this almost mutant behavior, where they're now so radically isolated. They're losing African Americans, they're losing Latinos, In the most recent poll, they're losing young Americans, they're losing Asian Americans. I mean, all the groups.
I can tell you right now how I believe they're losing all these people, because the Democrats have always picked one, sometimes two minority groups, if you will. And they went with the Marxist model of there is an oppressor and there's the oppressed. Okay. And what they did was the people that they considered the oppressed, Black and Latinos, the Hispanic community, they caught on to their bullshit after enough time, right? They caught on to, oh, we're going to promise you the world, but we deliver nothing. And then Trump came along and he didn't deliver nothing. He delivered for them. Okay. So now they had to go to the transgender groups. They have to go to the crazies, as a matter of fact, like just groups that like illegal aliens. They want to bring them in and give them amnesty, but I'll let you continue.
Groups they thought they could count on
Yeah.
are thinking these guys are nuts.
Thank you. Yeah.
And they're not going to vote for them. And they know they're nuts because of pain. Pain in terms of fentanyl and crime, pain in terms of the price of living, pain in terms of the number of immigrants crossing the border. Every time they turn
Everything I
around,
said.
they see an incompetent president who's clearly beyond his due date. I mean, a reasonable Democratic Party, if it still existed and it doesn't, would in fact insist that Joe Biden step down. There is no Democratic Party that can do that, and he's not going to step down. And if he did, they'd get Kamala Harris, because in their party, in their particular universe, you cannot defeat a black woman.
Well, the fact of the matter is they can't take a black woman and not kiss her ass and put her up there. That's their problem. The progressives have created such a Looney Tunes system that they live by that you can't get rid of a black woman.
Well, Newt, I got to say, I've seen desperation before in politics, but what they're saying about Trump wanting to execute people.
Can you believe that?
He's going to execute his political
This
opponents.
is how bad
I mean,
it's gotten.
I think they've completely, I mean, I hate to say someone's lost his or her mind on another cable network, but I don't know how else you describe that. I mean, that's where they are. That's the Democrat. But what happened to hope and change? What happened to all the optimism that the Democrats offered?
Look, last week I was in a meeting with a formerly moderate Republican, very sophisticated, very nice guy, somebody I like personally. And as we talked about Trump, he became so totally demonically convinced
PDS.
that this is the end of his world. I mean, the language, I couldn't argue with him because the language was so
Nuts.
emotional.
Yeah.
It was like dealing with a person who was literally beyond self-control. and I think that's what you're seeing. That 20 or 30% of the country now is in a mood of literally being out of touch with reality.
They're very
totally
unpleasant.
convinced they're right and terrified.
That's exactly right. But there's something else that I worry about. These people are so radically insane at this point about losing power to Trump of all people, that when they realize that sending him to prison is not going to keep him out of the White House, these are the kinds of people who will plot his assassination. Now, that's not as goofy as them saying that he wants to execute people or he's like Hitler or Stalin, because they have already escalated beyond the rhetoric phase. And they went through some 90 indictments that they threw against the man in 4 cases, all of them bogus. We know that all of the things that they're charging him with are bullshit, but they're doing it at every level of government and that they're all bogus. So if that didn't work, what are they going to do? So now they're trying to take him off ballots. But the Supreme Court, I believe, will take the case, and I believe they will rule the right way and say that you can't do that because there was no insurrection. And it doesn't follow the reason why Section 3 of the 14th Amendment was written about insurrection. And what the irony here is that the insurrection clause of the 14th Amendment had to be written in there only because of the Democratic Party, the people that are trying to abuse it to go after Trump now. They wrote the insurrection clause because they feared that Democrats who were leaders and caused the Civil War would try to get back in power and cause the same bullshit problems they did in the past. So it's not a real stretch to say that they went from rhetoric to communist-style kangaroo court show trials to trying to remove him from the ballot. And when none of that works, the only thing left is to kill him. And that's what I'm worried about, because what would happen if they assassinate Trump? And these leftists, these Democrats, they are not beyond that. They are evil, they are desperate, and they're willing to go there. All right, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and share our videos with like-minded friends who want to stay informed with what's really going on. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.